the agenda for today. I think the main purpose of today was to sort of finalize plans for the awareness week, just to figure out what we'd like to do for that. Is there anything else anyone wants to add or change to the agenda?
No.
All right. Would anyone like to move to approve the agenda for today then?
I will.
We'll take Mary first and Colleen as seconder. All in favor for that? Yes. All right. We'll carry on. Any declarations of pecuniary interests? No. All right. And then attached are the minutes from our last meeting. I don't know if everyone had a chance already to look them over. Was there any changes or modifications?
I had a question, if I can find it.
Yep.
7.1, I don't remember this. Linda to present Public Works Department for the public spaces standard. Down 1, 2.
Yes. Yep, I had that written down as well.
I just don't remember that.
Oh, okay. Yes, she had put her name down, and I think I said I would help her out with that one as well. So
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Anything else on there?
No.
Okay. Would anyone like to move to approve the minutes from our last meeting?
I will.
Sandy and seconder?
I'll second it.
Mary? And everybody else in favor?
Yes.
All righty. Okay. So the next part, we have Ralph de Jonge online with us today. Welcome, Ralph, from the Brighton Digital Archives. When we talked about doing awareness videos for Accessibility Week, we had asked, or I guess Tom was the one who initiated it, asking Digital Archives if you guys would be able to provide some expert assistance with videotaping. So I think the original plan was to have, there's 5 accessibility standards that we would like to review. So the plan is to have about a minute or 2 video for each standard. And so each day of the week, we'll release that video just for public awareness. And so I know when we talked about it at the last meeting, the plan was at that point was to pick a day that worked with Digital Archives and as well as ourselves, and do a short interview with a community partner. We're going to call them a community champion for that accessibility standard. You guys would help record that video and then help get it ready, and then we would present that video in May. Was that your understanding, Ralph, of what the plan was?
Yes, I think that was talked about at one point. Yeah.
Now, with I guess the first question is, with the emergency order in place, I don't know how it I think I looked up the date. It goes till May 4th. Let me go back. May 5th. So the 28-day lockdown, stay-at-home order is till May 5th. So I don't think we could do anything before then. Am I correct in saying that?
I think that's true.
Yeah. So I guess the first question is, if we record something on like May 7th, is that enough time to organize it and get it together, or does that make it too short notice for you guys?
No, if we can be sure that we're going to be out of the stay-at-home order by that date, we can do all our planning just from home over the month of May, April rather, and we can be ready to go if we know where we're going to shoot, who we're going to shoot, and how that's going to work and where we're going to shoot. So we're really keen to do this. We're also really busy. In spite of COVID, we've had a lot of back burner work that we're just catching up on now. And we do expect that once the weather improves, we'll be making plans for our usual recording sessions outdoors. So if we can keep this to a single day of recording, that would be really helpful, no matter how long it is. The longest part isn't the recording. The longest part is usually, the post recording, editing business and audio and the assembly of everything. So when's the week that you want to air? Is it the 29th of May?
The 31st of May.
31st of May.
Yeah.
Okay.
The 31st till June 4th.
So you'd like to have 5 very short videos. You're probably thinking 1 or 2 minute.
Yeah.
And
it would be an interview between a committee member and someone from the organization. So I think it could be either outdoors. I think instead of moving around to different locations, it makes sense to have it like either at the community center or outside of the community center in front of municipality sign.
It would be great to do it out of doors, but then weather always becomes a factor.
Yeah.
Wind, even if the weather's nice and it's really, really windy, that's actually a problem.
Yeah.
And a nice background with a minimum of traffic noise.
Yeah.
So something away from the train, away from the main street would be good.
Yeah.
And
then we could always see if the community center is free as community center, or even like Tom, how we did with Ben Hagerman for accessibility awareness, International Day of Accessibility Awareness in December. We did it in council chambers.
Council chambers sounds better because of the sound. It's a dampened room, and the sound would be a lot better there.
I think that we could arrange that pretty easily if we did it so that it was like schedule, like, okay, on the hour or whatever it is, next group comes in. We could probably maintain some pretty good social distancing if we did it that way too.
We require an hour of setup time, and whoever we're talking to for 2 minutes will probably only take about a half hour, depending on the person and how easily they find themselves in front of camera. And it takes us a half hour to an hour to strike all of the equipment, get it back into the cars.
Okay.
So, and we would have a crew of, well, it depends what you want to do. Like, we normally have a 2-camera setup with 4 lights and an audio recording system, so that we've got someone taking care of audio exclusively, someone talking to the host or to the guest, prompting them for their whatever they have to say, and someone else taking notes, and someone looking after lighting. So there's a crew involved. So even at that point, indoors, distancing would be important.
What's the people limit? If that's the right wording. People limit for the council chambers.
I think in normal times it's like 22 or something like that, or 25 or something like that. I mean, I think there's enough space. Like, if we move desks out of the way and everything, and sort of just made like a big space for if we're talking 5 people at a time, let's say, or whatever, that's not too bad. I think we'd be able to pull that off pretty good, as long as there's no stay-at-home order. That's really the key, right? Like,
so
and I have backup in mind. So my other thought was we could do just an audio recording of a script for each one that can be approved by the agencies and ourselves, and then just have a slideshow of digital pictures. I'm sure most of the agencies have promotional pictures, or the municipality has pictures, or we could take pictures and then put that into a PowerPoint with the audio overlaid. So that could be a backup if we're still in a stay-at-home order.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys have expertise, Ralph, with that as well, or if that needs to be done something through maybe Ben, who might have more PowerPoint stuff.
It doesn't have to be PowerPoint. It can just be an assembly of slides with
Okay.
voiceovers and even live footage of exteriors or anything else like the bus or the other thing I might mention is that we now have a drone. We're not that experienced with it as yet, but by then we will have had it out and flying. So we can do exteriors. The other thing I should point out is that we have a teleprompter so that everyone that's being interviewed can be on script.
Oh.
And just read into camera. That speeds things up even more.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Mm.
Mary,
The
you
only
had your
thing with
hand up. Oh, sorry.
with a teleprompter, I need to have the scripts in advance.
Yep.
Yeah,
Mary,
well,
go ahead.
if I can speak now,
Yeah.
Ralph, you do have an awful lot of Brighton pictures archived, right? If we can't win the chambers, you could pull them out and make some kind of a slideshow.
Sure, anything's possible. And we should be thinking about making it interesting. If it's not going to be real live people, that's harder to look at a slideshow than it is someone actually just talking.
Right.
Mhm.
I wonder if I definitely was thinking with the bus, Mary, your transportation with the Quinte access, it would definitely be good to show some images of it, right? Like not just the interview of the person, but maybe like cut to like here's someone getting on the bus, let's say, or something like
Right.
that. It would be kind of neat. I mean, you know, I don't want to add too much to your plate at all, Ralph. Like, I wonder if how we would be able to maybe acquire some of that type of footage, like in the meantime, and provide it to you, Ralph.
If you can acquire that kind of footage, you mean not have us shoot it?
Like, yeah, maybe just even with like a cell phone or I don't know what's out there too. So, you know, it'd be good to.
Yeah, we could put it off, but it will be a separate recording session.
Okay.
What if the agencies already have promotional videos of
Maybe they
something
do.
like that? Is that something you?
As long as we're allowed to use them, no problem.
Okay. Okay.
Nicole, I think, well, I know that Quinte Access is available for whatever, and the bus is running through here anyways, as you know. So maybe the best bet would be to talk to the CAO, Shelley, and I could give you that information, Ralph. And if you wanted to do something separate, I don't know where Linda is today, but since she's on the committee, it would be very good, I think, to have her videoed and speaking how important the bus is to her. And Shelley could let the residents know all the opportunities that are available with Quinte Access Bus. Mm-hmm. And that kills two birds with one stone, because we're always trying to promote more of the Quinte Access Bus being used. And also it shows how accessible that bus is for our residents. So if Ralph would be willing to do that, I know that we could set that up, Ralph.
I can do that. I'm looking at this now as a two session project, and that's fine. I have no problem with that. It'll be interesting to do that, actually. So if you said Linda is the person that would speak about the bus?
I would think so. What does the rest of the committee think?
I think her name was on for that one. Oh no, it was Colleen and Mary. Sorry, Colleen and Mary you guys have your names down for presenting Quinte Access.
Well, if it's not Linda, Sandy has different disabilities, and maybe Sandy, you could coordinate that with Sandy. What do you think, Sandy?
I'm doing the community care, and Quinte Access has a lot to do with them too. And I'm thinking that they probably have a little blurb already made up themselves where they go around and promote community care in the different groups. They probably have all the pictures and stuff. I've spoken to the girl that's going to be doing it, but I didn't have any more information, dates and what's required and stuff. But I'm pretty sure that with their human resource public relations, they have something that's prepared if we need.
I think maybe it makes sense, first off, to see if Quinte Access already has videos. I'm just thinking in time for Brighton Digital Archives, and as well when we're supposed to be staying at home, if they already have some good videos of clients getting on and off the bus, that might be sufficient. So maybe what I'll do first is I will touch base with Shelley to see if they have some good videos for that we can share.
Ask her too if she's got stills, like just images that will help so that we can actually include that even within the interviews.
Okay.
Wherever it feels like the right place to put them. So we spice up all of our videos with lots of still images. So the more we can get of those, the better.
And I think a lot of organizations would have still images already.
Mhm.
And I'm not sure for municipality wise, if there's a lot of the broken sidewalks or things that have been repaired, little things like that, that might go into what standard is that? The public spaces standard.
Yeah, I'll talk to the guys at Public Works there, because I think they do take photos before and after of jobs like that.
Okay.
But if not, that's something that we could with an iPhone or whatever, just take a shot of one of the ones that look great now or something and shoot those over to Ralph. I think we could do that pretty easy, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Instead of booking something now to do a video, if they already have those videos, then it makes sense to use those versus
Sure.
having
One session instead of two. That means one session instead of two.
And one. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay.
Nicole.
Yes.
If you go on Quinte Access does have a Facebook page, and if you go on there, they do have photos, still photos and videos and stuff. So maybe it's just a matter of going through it and looking to see if there's something you like, and then if there is, then get permission to use them.
Yep.
It's already all over their Facebook page, the Quinte Access Facebook page.
What about community care, Mark?
Mark's gone.
Sorry, what do you mean, Mary? About having pictures?
Yeah, because then maybe both of those could be coordinated.
There's quite a few pictures and different videos on the Quinte Access.
And then I know I was talking to Community Living today, and I think they have banks of pictures as well of their clients. So that's something that we could access as well.
Yeah, any photos that we bring down from Facebook, they're going to be very low resolution, and once they get on the big screen in video, they're going to look not so great. So the higher the resolution of the photos, if we can get original photos that we can scan, or actually have high resolution versions of pictures that are on Facebook, that would be great.
Community Care has the same. Their Facebook page has got various pictures and videos. And all the contact information there for the people you need to reach out to.
I'm thinking about details now. Is there any piece of music that you use for this sort of thing?
No, that's up to you, Ralph.
Okay, well, I'll
Does the municipality have any
No, we
videos
don't
or
sing.
music?
Ben usually just grabs like there's like those little clips you can grab online and stuff, and you just like sort of like general music or whatever. But if you have any ideas on that, Ralph, let us know. And
Okay. I have some stuff in my own library that I've written that might work.
And I can do a sort of online look as well for the accessibility week if there's anything that has been attached with that already. Like I know Rick Hansen has, I know he's got Man in Motion, but I think there's other audios, but I don't know if they're copyrighted or not to be able to use. So maybe Ralph's copyright's better.
It depends where this is going to end up to. If it's just a YouTube video, they allow for a lot of copyright infringement there.
Is it different though if you're going to put it on a Facebook page?
Facebook's about the same.
Okay.
Yeah, it's if you were thinking of broadcasting it, that might be a problem.
Okay.
Nicole.
Yep.
The one thing that we've never really been able to promote between COVID and high water is the whole ramp that's at the beach. And I was just wondering, Ralph, could you use the drone for something like that?
Good idea.
In the park?
Yeah.
Yeah. The Moby.
You need special permission to do that.
Right.
Provincial parks are pretty tight about drone usage.
Okay.
And it's not on their list of the 5, even though it's a great idea.
Yeah, I know.
It's not on the list. Unless we want to change the public spaces to the park, but then it's contacting the park and
Yeah, we'll never get that
yeah.
done in time.
Sorry, Tom, were you
Sorry.
going to say something?
I was going to say it could be included in public spaces if you just had like an image or two. If we is there any images from when it went in, like with the committee or anything?
Yes.
Or
I don't know who has them, but yes.
There was, but I don't know where they went. Do you, Sandy?
it could just be sort of included in the lump, some like this is some of the work that public spaces that we've done, like here's some sidewalks, here's the ramp at the thing, you know what I mean?
I have a few pictures myself. I mean, if that would work, Ralph, if I just gave you the pictures or.
Sure. We're looking for, again, high resolution pictures as possible, just because they'll look better.
Okay, so I have a cell phone. How high resolution are we talking?
It depends on the cell phone.
Oh, okay.
Is it an old one or a new one?
It's a new one. I used to have really good cameras, but I don't trust the last one that I've been using.
Yeah, the problem with sending any kind of image in your email, often the email will compress it. So unless you tell your email to pull it at full resolution, it will compress it. And if it's video, often the sizes of the files are too much, and you have to find another way to transfer those videos.
Yeah, I know. I'd make sure I'd sent you a still because I just know enough about the files.
And I can contact Presqu'île. I can just do a general email there to see if they have any pictures of the walkway that they're willing to share with us.
Nicole? Nicole?
Yep.
There is pictures. You're talking about the accessible beach mat?
Yep.
Yeah.
They just posted 5 or 6 days ago, half a dozen to a dozen pictures of that. If you just go on to the
Oh, okay.
Friends of Presqu'île Park and go to their Facebook page, and I'm looking at it now. It was just 6 days ago that they posted it. And
Okay.
when you're reading the write-up on it, there's a link, and they posted some, maybe half a dozen pictures, and there's probably more when you click on the link. So just go to Friends of Presqu'île Park, and then you'll click on their Facebook page, and they've got the up-to-date pictures there from 6 days ago.
Okay. Mark's multitasking.
You betcha.
The other thing that I'm going to need are logos. Any logos that you have that you will want to have included, either that represent yourselves or Equity Access or anybody else that you're connecting with. We should have those in advance, and they should be as high as a resolution as possible.
Okay. Okay. Any other details you need, Ralph, beforehand?
Well, when you've figured out what the 5 subjects and interviewees are, I'd be happy to receive that information.
Okay.
And my last thing would be, who will be my contact? Who can I start talking to?
I can be your contact.
Okay. I'm going to take this to our committee now, and they will say yes, but I'm just letting you know that if anybody has any kind of problem, I should confirm back.
Yeah, just let me know what you
We're all
think.
go for this, and I can tell you that pretty quickly.
Awesome. Well, we fully appreciate all of your support and help. And maybe after what I'll do after the meeting today, either Tom or I will do a sort of a summary of the plan, if that sort of helps to have it all written out. And we can forward that on to you as well.
That would be great.
Okay. All right.
Shall I go now?
It's up to you. If you want to stay while we
I don't want to stay where I'm not welcome.
Oh,
Well, you're
absolutely
very welcome.
Okay.
You're absolutely welcome.
We're such an exciting group.
Yeah, right.
You also don't have to, though, if you don't want to.
No, you
No,
don't
I'm
have
fine. I'd be interested in hearing the rest of it.
Okay.
I think we might just do a bit more talk about the individual standards and planning for each one of those. And then I'm just looking at the time, what time it is. I'm trying to see my agenda. And then, yeah, any municipal updates if Tom has any.
Yeah, just a couple.
Okay. All right. So if we go through each of the standards, I was presenting for community living for the employment standard. I talked with them this morning because they weren't responding to any emails. So I talked with Donna this morning. They're very interested. Everything, of course, is closed right now just because of the lockdown. But she's going to take it to her executive director just to check with her. But they were very interested in doing that and in promoting their employment services that they have through them. So there we go. The next one is Sandy and Linda. We're going to present for community care for the customer service standard.
Yeah.
So Sandy, have you talked to community care?
Yes, I have. They're just waiting to find out sort of what questions we ask, what date we need them. And I'm thinking them too, that they have lots of videos prepared for selling their programs to different places. So I wouldn't be surprised if we could just use that rather than do a personal interview. It depends on how we end up, whether we're in lockdown or not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's almost like we need two plans. We need the main plan, and then unfortunately we might not know till that first week of May if it's going to be extended or not. Well, I guess we might know based on cases, but yeah. But it'd be nice to get all the groundwork done and to get the plan going. I know community living said they prefer sort of a still picture and video thing with a voiceover versus an interview at this point, just because of the lockdown, but
right.
Yeah. So it's good that community care. And then next was Mark to present for the clerk's department for the information and communication standard. And that'll be you.
So it's approved. We're good. We're good to go on that one.
You think there's enough video? Have you got some video, Tom, for that?
We can figure something out.
Yeah, I'm sure Ben even has some promotional stuff.
Well, and we can do some shots of like the website. We can do some screenshots of website stuff, and like, because that's the kind of stuff we really want to talk about in that part. Really, is like what type of improvements we made. Mm-hmm. So you some screenshots and maybe yeah, there's got to be something communication wise from Ben that we could use. Even
if it's what even would be nice, and maybe this wouldn't be good to do in the actual interview section, but even you doing an audio of finding accessibility features on the website or something like that.
Sure. Yep. Well, I was just going to ask this question. Sorry, Ralph, I'm glad you stayed around because I got another question for you.
Okay.
As our backup solution, since we're going to kind of be thinking both at the same time, just in case, would audio, like, would it work to do, say, if we recorded a Zoom call between the two parties to pull the audio.
Yeah, I know what you're
and/or-
asking me, but I really would stay away from Zoom because the amount of difference between like everyone that I'm looking at, even now, the resolutions are all over the map. And you know, your broadband is a little slow. There are gonna be hiccups. I would, if you're gonna do just audio, I don't know what I'd do. If we're locked down and you want to do audio, I want it to be good audio. And
Is voice memo good enough on a cell phone or no?
it all depends. It would, you know what I would be happy to do if I have to think about this, but
Okay.
I send a proper, really good audio recorder to someone's house, and we told them how to set it up on their kitchen table and push the record button and just talk. We're going to get way better sound than we would through a phone or through Zoom or any other way that requires, multiple different sources of audio.
Okay.
I mean, if we could go to someone's front door with a microphone and extended boom and with a proper wind baffling on it, we'd get better results than any other option.
Okay.
Well, hopefully it doesn't come to that, but good to think ahead just in case, right?
Yeah,
Well,
I'm sorry I'm being fussy. I've learned that I have to be.
Yeah, for sure.
we appreciate your expertise.
Yeah, exactly.
I know we record songs at church sometimes to play during the Zoom service. And, but yeah, we often just use my phone to record it. And then when you're playing it during the service, you're like, oh, I hear footsteps as I back away after I hit play and all that sort of
You know
stuff.
what, mostly you hear just the person holding the phone grunting and breathing.
Okay. No, that's a good question, Tom, as a backup, just to see if that would have worked or not. All right, so the clerk's department is in for that one. And then the next one is Linda to present the public works department for the public services standards or public spaces standard. So I'm assuming, Tom, that one's a go?
Yep.
Okay. And then Colleen and Mary to present Quinny access for the transportation standard. And are they on board
Yes.
for that?
They're definitely on board. At my last Quinny Access meeting, we talked about it again, and it's just a matter of finding the right time. And Ralph, you've been here to do my profile. Certainly, if there's nowhere else, you're welcome to
I'm back.
do that part of it here with Colleen. Here, maybe Colleen, you'd like to be the spokesperson.
I can try.
You can do it. So anyways, whatever ends up happening, certainly they're on board. And it's just a matter of getting in touch with Shelley so we can arrange the time for Ralph to do his job, okay?
Yep. Well, and I think if we pencil in that March 7th, that Friday,
Right.
May
May, yeah.
7th, we'll cross our fingers that we'll be able to do it in person.
Yes. Okay.
And if not, then maybe that could even be our recording date. Where even if, Ralph, if you guys are set up to record somewhere, we can each have a time to come in and do our speaking, and then you don't have to travel around to people's houses.
Yeah, and so in that situation, it's probably going to be an outdoor location, so it needs to be something free of street noise. but we could set up and people could just walk from their cars to a microphone and talk.
Yep. Yep. That'd be less work on you to have to go to different places.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's good. We've got that in place. The next thing we sort of have to really think about is scripts, sort of what we want to say and what questions we want to ask the agencies. Does anyone have any burning questions that we want to make sure we ask every single agency? Mary?
Well, each one has a different service in some ways. So the script for Quinte Access wouldn't necessarily be the same script, say, for Public Works. So I don't think you could have a standard one necessarily.
Well, it could almost be like insert standard, insert name of organization. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
what's your commitment to accessibility for the transportation or what, you know, whatever, like it is.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, we could do that.
I would love a script if I'm going to be talking to somebody. Yeah.
I was thinking the same.
Well, and I think it'd be nice to have similar questions, because I was thinking then at least we could, you know, we can have an introduction for what the standard is.
Mm-hmm.
And today we are interviewing community care for the customer services standard. What is your organization's services in the municipality? What is your commitment to accessibility with regards to the standard? What would you like the public to know? Like, we're thinking like 2 minutes, so it's going to be really, really short.
I think you've already done it, Nicole. Thanks for all
Yes,
that, Nicole.
yes.
Yeah.
Did anyone write that down?
No, sounded good though.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
What you're talking about now is that mean you'd like to have a host actually have an on-camera question to an interviewee?
We had thought about having a member of the agency there and then one member of our committee there. So then it's like a conversation a bit back and forth.
Okay.
Is that different than you thought?
Yeah, I had thought it would be, questions would be asked off screen and the answers would include the question and it would just be one person talking to camera. Having two people talking to camera, it's doable. Using a teleprompter in that situation would be difficult. To me, everything that we've done so far has, even when we do all the Brighton I Remember videos, what those people are doing is answering questions, and you're not aware of that because they're being asked the questions, they're prepared for the questions, and they pretty much know what they're going to say. And if there is a question asked, they know that the question has to be incorporated in the answer. And
Okay.
which makes it easier for us.
So what we could do is start out with a committee member introducing the standard and why community care was picked for that standard. And then that person can be out of the screen. And then the next person's, well, I'm so-and-so from community care, and then go through sort of the questions with regards to that community standard. Does that work?
So we've got one person representing the committee who will be introducing and setting up questions. That would be a separate interview, or is this an interactive thing?
Well, the thought was it would be interactive so that they'd be on, you know, two sides of our accessibility banner or something like that, you know, with going back and forth.
Okay,
But
like a split screen sort of situation.
Yeah, but if you're thinking that's too challenging, we could have just the one committee member do an introduction. And then in the next video, you're going to have the member there from the organization answering the questions.
Okay, I need some time to digest this. And maybe we can, because I have to figure out how that's going to work. Especially if, I mean, it's a little confusing to me if we've got an interactive thing happening and potentially a teleprompter situation as well. Those two things aren't necessarily compatible. Yes.
Like, I think the answers will pretty much, everyone will know what they're going to say, and that's where it's going to be scripted, even from the agency. They'll have it ready.
Yeah. So, but it'll be off the cuff. It won't be teleprompter then.
No, I was thinking everyone's going to know what they're going to say, but it's still going to look like a conversation back and forth.
Okay, my question still is, do you see the teleprompter in this scenario? Where they're reading from a script?
I think it would be helpful because then you would remember what to say.
That's true. I mean, if that's the case, then it's not really interactive any longer. It's them reading from a teleprompter. And then you can handle the question separately from the answer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think I get what you're saying, Ralph. Like, we could do it. You can basically make it look, you know, like, let's say in your finished video, it would be like committee member does their little piece, which read off this prompter, and then you would cut to that organization member
Reading a
answering
teleprompter.
reading from a teleprompter, but they're not actually happening at the same time, basically.
That's right. In fact, I could even put them on, if you did it in real time. No, you can't do it in real time if you do it that way.
I think I like your approach is good as far as like health guidelines, I think right now too, Ralph. Like, I think that makes more sense to shoot it that way.
Okay.
So then it's like one person doing their thing, they're out of there. Next person comes in, they do their thing.
Yeah.
It really doesn't even have to happen in any exact order. It's
No,
just,
in fact, you'd have people reading their scripts first, and that's done quickly. Interactive slows things down. They just have to read a script, and then you take the person who's been watching the recording, ask all the questions, and then I'll just paste them together.
there you go.
Okay. Okay. Mary, you had your hand up.
It's already been answered now. I think what Ralph and Tom have suggested would work the best.
Okay.
That's a good plan.
Okay.
I have another thought. The backup plan. As we left it, we were talking about doing audio in a location and having people walk up to a microphone and just saying what they need to say. Why can't there be a camera there?
Yeah.
Why can't there be a teleprompter there?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Same difference, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Well, it's just if we're allowed
You were
to do that,
suggesting-
right?
Well, if you're allowed to put them in front of a microphone, you're allowed to put them in front of a camera. If it's outdoors and you're not congregating, that might not be an issue.
As long as
I
you're not
don't
more
know.
than 5
If
people.
we're in stay at home, that changes everything. But
Mhm.
Yeah.
we'll really have to think about that one when it happens. And so we can have a rough backup plan, I think, but as far as the specifics go, it depends on the order of the day.
What were those 3 questions you said, Nicole? They were so good. I'm gonna write them down.
Yeah, please.
What services does your agency provide?
Yeah.
What is your commitment to accessibility in the community? Or is it, what is your commitment to the accessibility standard we're talking about today?
Right. Yeah.
And then what do you want the public to know about your organization?
Awesome. Love it.
You are so talented.
Can breathe a sigh of relief now.
And that's something that we could send off to the agencies to say, here's the questions.
Yeah.
Here's the standard intro. So like, I don't mind, Tom, if you don't mind working with me to get those together, and then we can get them out to agencies within the next few weeks. And then they have time to digest it and sort of send back a response. What do you think about this? And again, making it short.
Like, it'd be great if they actually responded over email with what they're going to say, and then we provide that to Ralph for the teleprompter, right?
Yep. Yep. Okay. Trying to think, is there anything else we've missed on this?
No, but I'm sure glad Ralph stayed.
Yeah, thanks, Ralph.
All right.
That's pretty good. Like, if there's something else, it's probably pretty minor, I would say, if we're not thinking of it right now.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Well, that's good. I like the idea of having that teleprompter there to be, instead of, I remember the thing that we did in December, I was like, okay, rehearsing it. And then you stand up, you're like, okay, I got to remember it all.
Yeah, totally.
You know, different people approach teleprompters differently. We had one person who said, I need the teleprompter, I need to be reading it. And when she was reading it, we thought, no, this isn't working. Worked way better without. And the other way around happens as well. So it, you know, people react differently.
Yeah.
Some people need it. Some people can't use it.
Yeah.
If eyesight is bad, it's a problem with a teleprompter. It's not that big a screen.
I might need my glasses for that one then. Okay. Is there any other thoughts or comments or anything that people want to add about the Accessibility Awareness Week planning? Everybody's good?
Just the dates, that's our biggie.
Okay. Okay. All right. So everyone, please pencil off May 7th. We will try for that date to do the recordings. I'll pencil it off for work. And then, yeah, hopefully we'll cross our fingers that we can go ahead with it in person. Okay. Next thing we have is municipal update from Tom.
So I just had a couple things from our last meeting. I know we had that big discussion about community mailboxes. So I had reached out to Canada Post. It was a bit of a weird discussion because no one has ever asked for this information before. Like, they were like, oh, this is a strange request. I was like, I know, yeah, it's different, but so they're working on it. They're gonna get back to me hopefully in the next few weeks, I'm thinking. Like, I don't really know, but and they'll hopefully, what I asked for is either a listing of all the community mailboxes, or even better, a map if they have it. And they're aware of why we're asking for it, to do sort of like an accessibility assessment kind of thing. And they sound okay with that. I mean, there's nothing, we're not going against we're not breaking any laws anyway. So, so hopefully if we get that information sometime in the spring, maybe this summer, you know, throughout the summer, we can arrange in our meetings to maybe do some assessments of those community mailbox locations as a project for us.
Okay. Okay.
The other update was, I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. I know we were talking about the information and communication standard and the enhancements we're doing with the website and trying to get everything up to the standards. And something action we took in March was council approved us to acquire the services of a company called AbleDocs, and they basically, you know, all the PDFs, you have like loads of PDFs on these websites, and like so many of them are not accessible. And so AbleDocs provides these tools for us to make all of those accessible, so that the information is, you know, accessible for all people. So over the course of the next 10 months or so, we're going to be working with them to get things up to snuff. And also going forward, all documents that are created will be in accessible format going forward. So pretty big news on the information and
Awesome.
communication side. Yeah.
Well, it's a nice thought to think, instead of as a, if I had a visual disability, I'd have to have that programming on my computer to then be able to download documents to it to be able to read the document. It's a nice thought to say, it doesn't matter what website I go to. If it's set up for that, they already have the tools. So then I don't have to pay money on my end to have a screen reader and those sorts of things. So yeah, it's a nice universal design concept.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so that's about it for municipal update.
Okay. Is there any other questions or comments about municipal updates?
Nicole,
Yes.
I was just going to add the part we were talking about there, Tom, was about the community mailboxes. When we get to that point, Tom, when you get that list, if I could introduce this gentleman, or maybe he could come via Zoom. I have a neighbor across the street from me. He spent 30 years working in the Toronto Metro Police, and his expertise was around trafficking and traffic study, but he's also done contract work for Canada Post on the very thing we're talking about, where they position for sight lines and everything else for community mailboxes.
Amazing.
He's done post police work for Canada Post on that very topic.
And was accessibility part of it?
Accessibility and sight lines for traffic, because when you talk to him, he said you'd be surprised when the mailboxes are put somewhere and the sight lines are terrible. So that would apply to anybody, accessible and honest, because if they've got it in the wrong spot and there's traffic blind spots, you might think you have it in a perfect spot for somebody that might be in a walker or wheelchair, but you've got it in a terrible spot based on them being able to see and somebody being able to see them going over to the mailbox.
But
He's
I wonder if they even
expertise
look at the physical accessibility as well to be able to say if it can be accessed or not, right?
Yeah, it'd be worth talking to the gentleman, because he spent 25 years, maybe close to 30 in Toronto, and he's done post police work and continues to do it with Canada Post on the positioning of those units.
Okay. All right, Mary, I saw your hand up there.
Yeah, the only thing I was thinking, if it could be combined in some part of the video, is that we finally managed to get the downtown, at least in some extended areas, painted with the yellow for people with vision problems. It's not necessary to have it on, but if we were doing something to show the main street, it would be nice that people know that that area at least is accessible for those who have problems seeing. And that we have, I think probably legally, we have all the parking spots that we have to have for people with accessibility issues. But, that's just, maybe that's something that Linda could talk with Public Works about. I don't know.
Tom, do you know if that's on the work plan to do that yellow painting?
I believe so. I think so, like some of it's been completed, hasn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think, that we'd probably be able to get some images of that pretty easily.
Yeah. And that could be even part of their script to say that's something that's being done, the downtown yellow and the accessible parking spaces, and yeah.
For sure.
In the public spaces video. Okay. Anything else? Any other comments or questions or feedback from community or anything?
Nope.
Okay. I'm looking at the time. It's 11:01. I think I said to Tom, we had said an hour. We were only doing an hour this time. So
Move to adjourn.
wait, Sandy's got her hand up. Or is
Sorry,
that
Mary,
too late?
just for a second, are we going to advertise for the empty position on our accessibility committee? Tom?
I think so.
For sure. That it was in the works before I had my situation here, so we're definitely going to. Yeah.
Okay. Hope you're feeling better and better.
Yeah.
The more they're better. Yeah.
All right. So I think Mary was itching to adjourn.
I
She always
love
is.
adjournments. Thanks, Ralph.
You're welcome.
Can we have a seconder?
I will.
I'll second. Yeah.
Sandy. And everyone's in favor to adjourn. Tom and I work on the scripts and send them out to everybody, so then you can get them to the agencies and we'll keep going. But feel free to ask questions, send off emails if you need to, and we'll cross your fingers that maybe soon we'll be able to meet. So next meeting would be, probably should have said this before we adjourned, would be March 14th. Is that correct?
May?
May.
Oh my goodness, May 14th at 10. Okay.
May 14th, but isn't May 7th the day that we're doing the interviewing and stuff?
No, I think it has to be a separate day. Our committee meetings are always the second Friday of the
Right.
month. I don't think we'd have enough time to meet as well as then do all the videos.
Yeah, we could just try to shoot for the 14th. That's kind of like I don't know what you call it, like a post. What do you call it?
Yeah. Rehash.
Yeah, like get together. So where we had to go,
We got a debrief.
and then
Debrief.
plan the release of it too, right?
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Nice to see you. Nice to meet you, Ralph, and we
Nice to meet
appreciate
you.
your support and assistance with this project. So
Thanks a lot,
See
Ralph.
y'all later.
Bye.
Thank you.